Hello guys, Midnight here, and today we will be rewinding the events of MPL Season 9 week number 1. There had been a lot of awesome moments this week, as we've seen the fall of the current MPL champions and the rise of the Phoenix. Meron ding mga nababasag na rivalries, and meron din mga nabubuong rivalries between the teams. Here are the things that you might have missed this week for MPL week number 1. Starting at number 1, we have the match of the World Grand Finalists between Onyx PH and Blacklist International. Kahit wala ang VYs this season dahil nga nag-break sila, we saw Blacklist put up a fight against Onyx in a heated 3-game series. Sabi ng Onyx, finally, oras na natin. It's Onyx time as they beat Blacklist and put a dent on the World Champion score for this year, giving them their first loss of the season. This also marked the debut for Cavier, whom Onyx has been constantly shutting down, and successfully did so in game number 1. Itong series na to, pinakita ang Dyroth or Dyroth din ni Edward na nag-dominate nung game number 2 as he constantly caught Kyrie off guard and burst him down to extend the series. However, it was ultimately Onyx that prevailed in the last game with the return of the Fanny pick for Kyrie. Sobrang lupit nung series na yon, Onyx PH finally prevailing against Blacklist International, and we'll see kung makakapag-adjust pa ba ang Blacklist on the next coming weeks dahil Onyx PH sila ang mukhang mas malakas sa team ngayon versus Blacklist. Next up is the affair between TNC Pro Team and Omega Esports. Sa unang tingin, itong series na to mukhang relevant lang dahil kailangan nila makakuha ng points. But little did we all know that TNC will show up with finesse and put up a dominant performance against Omega. They took the series by storm, scoring a fast 2-0 against the MSC champions and debuted the jungle emblem as a primary tool for SDZYZ on his Karina. With the team overhauling its roster since Season 8, they found a new flame and ignited new dynamics for the team. The spotlight ng match nila against Omega was the incredible prowess on their signature heroes, Escalera on Selena, Yasuo with the Beatrix, and Benthings on the Chu. This proved to be very lethal as day number 1 ends with TNC leaving a crime scene. Walang naka-expect na mangyayari to. Almost everyone na gumawa ng power rankings nilagay ang TNC sa ilalim. Pero they just left a mark. And day number 1 pa lang yon guys. Day number 1 pa lang, nagpakita na kagad ang TNC. Day number 2 came and it's grudge match day as we start with RSG wanting to take revenge against Nextplay Evos for their inability to win a single match against the latter last season. The current tally between these two teams is 10-1, counting the Cebu qualifiers. RSG came in wanting to crush their kryptonite dahil nga hindi pa sila nakakascore sa Nextplay Evos sa MPL nung last season. Nag-debut yung mga bagong recruits ng Nextplay Evos and also binalik nila si Sagit sa playing field. But RSG was having none of that and they persevered on game number 1 to mount a comeback on the back of Nats and Aqua's tanky frontliners. NXPE went back to their comfort zone in game number 2 and was able to get H2 Sling, his best hero. Pero kahit pa nakuha ng Nextplay Evos yung Ling, hindi pa rin enough yung mobile assassin na to para makapag-provide ng kahit anong assistance sa kanyang team dahil siya mismo ay pinapahirapan ng RSG, constantly running out of resources as Demon Kite constantly contested the purple buff para lang hindi mapagana ng Nextplay yung kanilang Ling. RSG brought Nextplay Evos to their knees and claimed their first victory against them. Again, last season, hindi nakascore ang RSG against Nextplay Evos. It was 7-0. The total tally now is 10-3, counting the Cebu qualifiers. So kahit pa sabihin natin malaki yung gap for Nextplay Evos, nakikita na natin na RSG, they're now able to crush teams like this. Wala nang kryptonite. The next bout was the battle of old brothers, Flap and Carl TZ. No longer the TZ brothers as they were, Ekko set out to crush Bren Esports to prove their strength as an all-star team. Bren mounted a good defense against Ekko, but the chemistry and the overall map movements was just better for the latter, and Bren Esports got quickly dismantled on both game number 1 and game number 2. Ekko also showcased their new duo, Yawi and Curtizi, as they were too much to handle against Bren Esports, and they rightfully proved so in game number 1, where Curtizi was running around on Vale with 8 kills to his name before dying for the first time. Curtizi surely is not missing out when he transferred to Ekko, as this was just the start of their dominance. Ito na, yung all-star team na inaabangan natin. Nakakatakot for the other teams dahil nakikita natin na gumagana yung kanilang lineup. There seems to be no problem with Ekko Philippines, and makikita pa natin sila in the next few weeks. The last match of Day 2 was brutal. It was where we saw the actual standings of the teams in terms of strength, as TNC was facing off against Blacklist International. This was supposed to be the final metric for both teams, but TNC just threw that out of the window as they came simply just to win. Bringing back the jungle emblem, this time on the Lancelot, TNC secured a massive advantage on the early game and utilized its momentum to just control the map and not let Blacklist have any farm on their Harith for game number 1. Going on to game number 2, nagtry ang Blacklist na baguhin ang kanilang formula as they discarded the Ubi strategy in favor of a new lineup that is arguably a better fit for their roster, as they were able to get their hands on Xavier's Link. But on the other side, we saw the debut of Valentina in the hands of Escalera. SDZYZ and Escalera just shut them off, constantly taking the farm and the purple buff away from Xavier. Blacklist was able to hold off with some amazing plays from Haji and Esson defending with the Sicilian, but they ultimately lost the control of the game and gave TNC their second sweep of MPL. On the last day of week number 1, Onyx was looking to continue their streak after taking down the M3 champs, but what stood in their way is Nextplay. MP the King, their new jungler, debuted in this match as he showed up for NXPE. He had full control of game number 1 and game number 2, constantly pressuring Kyrie and not letting him free farm while being able to pressure the side lanes as well. Onyx was finally feeling what it felt when they are doing it against the other teams, but they had no idea what was to come as game 2 rolled on and saw NXPE pulling off an Onyx PH against Onyx PH. With their signature banana split playstyle, NXPE left no room for Onyx PH to breathe. And ironically speaking, Onyx had more kills than Nextplay Evos, but MP the King and Ureshi had their eyes set on objectives and made the world of Onyx smaller and ended up taking the series 2-0. Sunday is Banana Split Day and Nextplay Evos showed Onyx PH the Nextplay way. Grabe, imagine nyo pinaramdam sa Onyx PH ang feeling na mas split push, and Onyx really had no answers against that. The last match for the week was between Omega and Ekko Philippines, where we saw the latter just dominate against the MSC champions. It was really shaping up to be the story of an all-star team, but also the downfall of the MSC champions. Only scoring a single digit on the kills, Ekko just completely wiped out Omega Esports and gave them their second loss of MPL, and also continues their dominance for the upcoming weeks. Pinakita ng Ekko Philippines na hindi talaga sila pwede i-underestimate, as they are really shaping up to be the all-star team for MPL Season 9. Guys, week number 1 pa lang and marami ng mga kaabang-abang, like yung TNC, sila ang number 1 team ngayon. Ekko PH, again being the all-star team. In the next few weeks, makikita natin kung totoo ba to. And Onyx PH, can they really get the ball going for them para makuha na rin nila finally yung MPL sa 3-time grand finalist na si Dilar. Also, RSG, the Kingslayers, yung constant na pag-improve ng team na to, kaabang-abang din dahil maraming team ang nagko-compete for the number 1 spot. Ladies and gentlemen, that was MPL Rewind for week number 1 of MPL Season 9. Maraming salamat sa panonood, and do not forget, follow all my social media channels Links down here below. And kita-kits tayo sa mga next few episodes pa ng MPL Rewind.